And welcome back to Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here with Tom Caldwell. He is the chairman of Caldwell Securities. Tom, yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the war in Ukraine. Obviously, that's almost a year old now, and it'll be grinding on this year. There's no question about that. You talked a little bit about what that means in terms of military spending, and I agree with you. What about things like energy costs and inflation?
Well, part of that is contrived. I mean, the part of the new religion of climate change is to get away from hydrocarbons into electrification. And eventually that's where we're going to go. But like all zealots, they tend to want to do it now. And that's where the challenge and that's where the opportunity lives. Now, I've noticed that natural gas prices in Europe have started to come down a little bit because they're getting LNG out of America now. They're just starting, and Qatar, et cetera. So they're making do in terms of keeping warm this winter. But energy costs are still going to be a feature coming from the hydrocarbon sector because it's too early to make the switch. We have to move in that direction, but it will take a degree of time. Europe, Chancellor Schroeder came to Canada and was really trying to get sources of liquid natural gas. And talking to the Prime Minister, he said, "No, we can't do it, but we're going to give you hydrogen, that is Hindenburg fuel, in a couple of years, 10 years or so." And you can see the look in Schroeder's face. I think these people are where they're not even in this world.
Right.
And I think he walked away quite disappointed. So they've had to get alternate supplies, and they're working that out. There's a lot of initiative. They're bringing some reactors back online, et cetera. But liquid natural gas is really environmentally friendly because as we export that, particularly to Asia, it replaces coal.
Right.
It is helping in the grand scheme of things, but nobody seems to have made that leap. So the energy prices are still remaining high. I still have a fulsome, the only things I own in Canada really are the Canadian banks, a couple of the banks I've just started to buy, and still the energy sector,
Right.
the oil and gas sector, because I still think there's going to be another move upward in hydrocarbon energy prices, particularly in gasoline and fuel, not necessarily natural gas.
Do you think then that that Canada, when I say we, Canada missed an opportunity on the LNG front, like maybe years ago when we had a chance to build LNG terminals and we didn't? They still haven't happened. Meanwhile, the U.S. and Qatar and others are jumping in to that market. Is that a huge missed opportunity for us?
Canada has never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity. As you probably note, I have white hair. As long as I've been in the securities industry, there's been talk of LNG, either on the West Coast, where we have problems getting it through for all kinds of pressure groups, and on the East Coast, Quebec not wanting to have pipelines. See, the problem, without leadership, Canada has become a tyranny of minorities, and we don't get things done. So we've missed that incredible, screaming opportunity, culminated with the PM saying there's not a business case for LNG, which is total vacuous idiocy. But how he got away with that? Nobody jumped all over that. I mean, it's just off the Richter scale. So the challenge with Canada is not that we're seen as a bad investment destination. We're not seen as an anything now.
Right.
I mean, if you might talk about, say, the Ring of Fire here in Ontario, I mean, that's been going on for 20 years
That's
as well.
that mining project on critical minerals you're referring. Yeah.
Incredible. I mean, it's like Sudbury. It's a meteor hit that's very rich in mineralization. And for decades, we've been talking about building the road because it might interfere with the caribou or something like that. It's all this tyranny of minorities that we can't do stuff. So when you're thinking of a big project, there's not a resource company or a major corporation that would see Canada as a desirable destination unless they were given incredible benefits from governments to do so. So that's our challenge. Our challenge is we've got to start making decisions. We got to decide: are we a country or are we not a country? And if we are a country, what do we want to be when we grow up? And we're just hashing these things around, and the rest of the world has just moved on to other matters.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad. You're right. We've been talking about these things for years, if not decades, and we don't seem to be any closer to resolution on many of these things. And you're also right that while the world is turning to renewables, there's always going to be some kind of market for fossil fuels, and we're just not part of that discussion at all. We're going to continue our discussion, however, Tom. We're going to take a brief break again, and we'll be back after that break. Please stay with us.